never thought whistleblowing on my boss's embezzlement would end with me staring at my own face in the mirror. But here I was, trapped in the body of the man who'd ruined my life. It started that rainy Tuesday in the glass tower of Apex Financial in downtown Manhattan, where the air always smelled like overpriced coffee and desperation. I'd been Aaliyah Grant for 32 years, black, brilliant, and buried under a mountain of student debt from an MBA that promised the world but delivered cubicle hell. As senior analyst, I crunched numbers for the elite, the kind who summered in the Hamptons and wintered in Aspen, all while siphoning funds from pension plans like it was chump change. The hook came fast, like a sucker punch from fate itself. I uncovered the fraud by accident, buried in a spreadsheet that should have been routine. But instead of a pat on the back, they pinned it on me. Fired for doing the right thing? Hell, they made me the villain, the disgruntled employee, leaking lies to the feds. And then, in the dead of night after my termination hearing, everything flipped. One moment I was drowning my sorrows in a dive bar off Wall Street. The next I was gasping awake in a penthouse bed, silk sheets tangled around legs that weren't mine, hands that were broad and manicured in a way that screamed old money. I stumbled to the bathroom, flicked on the light, and there he was, Marcus Hale, the silver-haired CEO who'd orchestrated it all, smirking back at me from the marble vanity. My reflection? Gone. Stolen. Panic clawed at my throat as I touched my face, feeling the unfamiliar stubble, the lines etched from years of boardroom battles and bad decisions. How? It defied logic. But the how didn't matter yet. What burned hotter was the why. Marcus had always been untouchable, a Wall Street wolf with a penthouse in Tribeca and a Rolodex of senators. He'd built Apex on the backs of people like me, poaching talent from HBCUs and Ivy Leagues alike, only to chew us up and spit us out when we got too close to the truth. I'd trusted him once, back when I was fresh out of Wharton, wide-eyed and hungry. He mentored me, or so I thought, late nights poring over projections, his hand lingering a beat too long on my shoulder. But that trust? It was the first betrayal, a slow poison that made me doubt my own worth. By dawn, I'd pieced together the madness. On the nightstand lay an antique pocket watch, its face cracked, engraved with initials that weren't his, AG. Mine. I'd inherited it from my grandmother, a civil rights activist who'd smuggled it from Selma in the 60s. She always said it held family secrets, a talisman against injustice. I'd laughed it off as superstition. But now, as I clutched it, a surge rippled through me, like static electricity laced with vengeance. The swap wasn't random, it was ritualistic, born from some dark corner of Marcus's world where power wasn't just money, but something older, more primal. He'd dabbled in the occult, whispers I dismissed as office gossip, satanic retreats in the Adirondacks, deals sealed with blood oaths instead of NDAs. But this was his ultimate insurance policy: steal the body of the one person who could bring him down, wear her skin like a trophy while she rotted in his. I know. He had to move fast. The board meeting was in hours, and in this body, I had access. Power. For the first time, I felt the weight of it, the invisible strings that pulled the economy's puppet show. But beneath the tailored Armani suit and the Rolex that probably cost more than my mom's house in Brooklyn, rage simmered. They'd taken my name, my face, my future. Aaliyah Grant was now the face of fraud, her LinkedIn frozen in scandal, her credit score tanking as lawsuits loomed. And me? I was Marcus Hale, the golden boy, untarnished. Slipping into his life was like donning a straitjacket made of privilege. His driver waited curbside, a black Escalade purring like a predator. "Morning, sir," the man said, eyes downcast. No clue the soul inside had shifted. I nodded, voice gravelly in a throat that wasn't mine, and slid into leather seats that hugged like a coffin. The city blurred past, Times Square's neon vomit, the Hudson's gray churn, each landmark a reminder of what I'd lost. My apartment in Harlem, sealed off by investigators. My little sister, Tia, calling nonstop. Her voicemail's a gut punch. "Aaliyah, what the hell? The news says you're a thief." Call me. If only she knew. At Apex, the tower loomed like a monolith of glass and greed, its lobby a cathedral of marble where receptionists smiled like Stepford wives. I badged in his badge, my prison, and rode the express elevator to the C-suite, stomach twisting as colleagues nodded deferentially. "Great work on the Q3 projections, Marcus," one suit murmured. Projections I'd slaved over, now credited to the thief. In the boardroom, the air was thick with cologne and concealed daggers. The chairman, a fossil named Harlan Voss, steepled his fingers. The grant situation's contained.
FCS sniffing.
But we've got our people in place.
Contained.
Like I was a spill to mop up. My fists clenched under the table, knuckles whitening, his knuckles pale as fresh snow. The irony burned. Here I sat, the accused, plotting from the throne. But revenge wasn't a light switch. It was a fuse. Slow burning. I needed proof. Leverage. Marcus's secrets weren't just financial. They were personal. Rotten to the core. I'd overheard enough, his ex-wife's overdose. Ruled accidental but whispered as assisted. The intern who'd vanished after rejecting his advances. Her file buried in HR's black hole. And me? I'd borne the brunt of his mistake once before. 3 years ago, during a merger deal gone south. He'd cooked the books. But when auditors came knocking, he pinned the error on me, a rookie oversight. I took the demotion, the black mark on my record, all to keep my job. Loyalty, they called it. Blindness. I knew now. As the meeting droned, I scanned my phone. Encrypted apps, burner numbers, a calendar slot marked right midnight. The watch in my pocket hummed again, a vibration only I could feel. It was calling me back, or perhaps forward, to the heart of his darkness. By lunch, I'd hacked his desktop, child's play with my analyst skills, and found the folder, contingencies. Inside, schematics for the swap, scrawled in Latin, sourced from some Upper East Side antiquarian who'd cashed a fat check. The ritual required a personal talisman, mutual hatred, and a blood moon, last one aligning with my firing eve. He'd lured me to that bar with an anonymous tip, drugged my drink, then performed the rite in a hidden altar beneath his penthouse. My body, now his, walked free. His shell, now mine, was the perfect scapegoat. Rage crystallized into plan. Step 1. Infiltrate. Play the part long enough to dismantle from within. I scheduled a one-on-one with Harlan, spinning yarns about expanding the fraud cover-up. He bought it. Hook,
line,
and sinker, his eyes gleaming at the promise of more dirty money. But as I left his office, pocketing a flash drive of his own offshore accounts, the weight settled. This wasn't just revenge, it was identity theft on a cosmic scale.
Who was I now?
Aaliyah in wolf's clothing, or something monstrous emerging. That night, in the penthouse's cavernous silence, I stood before the full-length mirror, stripping away the suit layer by layer. His body was fit, gym-sculpted, but it felt wrong, intrusive, like borrowed time. The watch glowed brighter, and for a split second, I saw her, my face, twisted in confusion, wandering Harlem streets in my old jeans, wondering why the world no longer fit. Tia would find her, hug her, think she'd come home broken. But she hadn't. She was the imposter, and I was the ghost. Sleep evaded me, chased by dreams of boardrooms bleeding into graveyards. Dawn broke with a call from the real Marcus in my body, his voice high and frantic. "Who the fuck are you? Fix this." I laughed, a deep rumble that echoed off the walls. "Welcome to my world, Marcus. Now, let's see how you like the fall." Impersonating a CEO was like juggling grenades blindfolded. One slip, and the whole empire crumbled, taking me with it. But power? It was intoxicating. A drug sharper than the Adderall I'd found in Marcus's medicine cabinet. By week 2 in his skin, I'd wormed deeper into the beast, attending galas where champagne flowed like confessions and politicians whispered trades that could topple administrations. The betrayal cut deepest at those events, rubbing my nose in the life he'd stolen, not just mine, but generations. His family fortune traced back to redlining in the 50s, denying loans to neighborhoods like mine while building empires on the scraps. I'd borne that legacy unknowingly, crunching numbers that perpetuated the cycle, until his fraud made me the fall guy for a Ponzi scheme that drained Black retirement funds disproportionately. Stats don't lie, 70% of Apex's victims were from underserved communities. He'd known, laughed about it over scotch.
Now.
I sipped from his crystal tumbler, plotting the pourback. The hook of those nights? I'd corner underlings in shadowed corners, dropping hints like breadcrumbs. Aaliyah Grant wasn't the thief, you know that. Their eyes widened, a flicker of doubt in the machine. Controversy brewed, whispers spread like wildfire on the trading floor. Was the whistleblower framed? Or was Marcus Hale unraveling? Paranoia setting in? I fed the flames, anonymously tipping reporters from his own secure line. The New York Post ran a piece, Apex CEO's meltdown, covering tracks or cracking up. It was delicious. Watching my stock plummet 5% overnight. But secrets have teeth. Marcus's web was vast, spun with allies who'd kill to keep it intact. Enter Victoria Lang, his right-hand viper, a blonde ice queen with a law degree from Yale and a penchant for designer heels that clicked like guillotines. She'd been the one to forge my dismissal papers, her signature a flourish on my ruin. Rumor had it she was more than executive VP, she was his lover, a confidant, the one who'd sourced the ritual's grimoire from a Greenwich occultist. In his memories, fragments bleeding through like static, I saw them together. Naked ambition on silk sheets, plotting my downfall as foreplay. She'd borne witness to my original sin, that merger flop. Marcus had raged, smashed a decanter, but Victoria suggested the frame-up. She's expendable, she'd purred. Collateral for the greater good. I'd taken the hit. Demoted to junior analyst. My promotion dreams deferred. For what? Their yacht weekends in the Caribbean.
Now.
In his body. I confronted her during a strategy session in his office. The skyline a jagged crown beyond the windows. "Vic," I said, his voice smooth as aged bourbon. "We need to talk about Aaliyah." She arched a brow, legs crossed like crossed swords. The bitch who tried to sink us? Buried and forgotten. I leaned in, close enough to smell her Chanel no. 5. Laced with something sharper. Fear? What if she's not? What if someone's pulling strings from the inside? Her laugh was brittle glass. Paranoid much. Marcus? The right worked. She's you now. Flailing in the streets. Pathetic. The right. She said it casual, like ordering takeout. My blood boiled, but I played cool, tracing the watch in my pocket. It warmed, a co-conspirator. That night, I tailed her to a speakeasy in Soho, the kind where deals dissolved in dim light. She met a contact, shady, hooded, handing over a vial that shimmered like liquid mercury. Counter-ritual? Or poison for loose ends? I snapped photos with his phone, evidence stacking like dominoes. Back home, I pored over the files, decoding the Latin with online translators and a bottle of his Macallan. The swap wasn't permanent. It required renewal every lunar cycle, fueled by the victim's despair. Mine was peaking. Tia had texted, "Sis, you're scaring me. Come home." In my body, Marcus was crumbling, shoplifting mascara at Dwayne Reed, ranting to mirrors about imposters. Revenge's first strike landed subtle. I rerouted funds from Victoria's pet project, a slush fund for political bribes, to a whistleblower NGO advocating for financial justice. 10 million vanished overnight, her screams echoing through the halls the next day. "Who authorized this?" she snarled in the emergency board call. I feigned shock, his face a mask of concern. "Internal audit glitch? We'll investigate." Harlan Voss eyed me suspiciously, his jowls quivering. He was the real power, a relic from the 80s SNL scandals, who'd mentored Marcus in the arts of evasion. His secret? A hidden daughter, illegitimate, stashed in a Swiss clinic with a 7-figure allowance to keep her quiet about his treatments, euphemism for experiments that echoed the ritual's origins. Controversy escalated when I leaked Voss's daughter docs to a blogger, framing it as Marcus's doing. The old man cornered me after, breath hot with mints masking whiskey. "You're not yourself."
Hail.
"What's this game?" I smiled, teeth bared. "Just cleaning house." Harlan. Starting with the rats. His slap landed hard, his ring drawing blood on my cheek, but it fueled me. That night, the watch pulsed, granting a vision. Voss's clinic. Coordinates in Vermont, where the real rituals happened. Eugenics-tinged horrors. Swapping essences to cheat death. All funded by Apex's underbelly. Decisions turned dark. To access the clinic, I'd need allies, risky ones. I reached out to Jamal, my old college roommate, now a PI in Queens. "It's Aaliyah," I whispered over a burner. "Don't ask how, but I'm compromised." He laughed at first, then heard the desperation. "Girl, if this is drugs," but he came, met me in a diner off the Bruckner, eyes bugging at the sight. "Holy shit. What demon you sell your soul to?" I spilled it all, the swap, the fraud, the fire in my veins. He believed, God help him, and agreed to tail Victoria. "For you,
Sis.
But this controversial as hell. Stealing a white man's body. Half the world's gonna call it justice. The other half terrorism. We struck at dawn. Jamal hacking security cams while I drove north in Marcus's Porsche. The engine's roar matching my pulse. The clinic was a faux chalet, nestled in pines that whispered warnings. Inside, sterile halls hid chambers of nightmare, pods humming with ethereal light, essences trapped like fireflies in jars. Voss's daughter, pale, ethereal, floated in one, her eyes pleading. The twist hit. She wasn't hidden for shame. She was the key. A vessel for his immortality. Her body prepped for his soul when time called. I'd borne a piece of this unknowingly, my merger error. It funded the first trials. My demotion, a smokescreen. Alarms blared as I smashed the controls. Essences swirling free like vengeful ghosts. Voss burst in. Shotgun cocked. You fool. This ends everything. I dodged, the watch flaring, and tackled him. We grappled, his wheeze against my borrowed strength. Aaliyah, he gasped, recognition dawning. The watch. It chose you. Controversial choice, mercy or murder. I zip-tied him, left him for the feds I'd tipped anonymously. As flames licked the lab, arson for the greater good, I fled. Jamal's van waiting. You're a legend or a lunatic, he said, peeling out. Both, I replied, the line blurring. Back in the city, the empire teetered. Stocks crashed 20%. Headline screamed, Apex implosion. CEO Hale missing? In my old body, Marcus attempted suicide, slit wrists in my bathtub, saved by Tia. She called the house line. Marcus? Why'd you answer? Heart fracturing. I hung up. The betrayal deepened. He'd used my sister as bait, promising her a job if I'd recant.
Now. She hated me, the fraudster sis.
Power's shadow lengthened.
Victoria vanished.
But not before sending a package. The grimoire. Pages torn. A note. You can't win. The right binds us all. Tension coiled. Renewal loomed with the full moon. I had to end it him, the machine. But at what cost? My humanity, slipping like sand. The full moon hung like a guilty verdict over Manhattan, bathing the skyline in silver accusation. And I knew renewal night would be my reckoning or theirs. By now, 3 weeks deep in Marcus's husk, the cracks showed, colleagues side-eyed my erratic decisions, the ones bleeding Apex dry from within. I'd funneled millions into reparations, anonymous grants to fraud victims, prioritizing the communities he'd ravaged. Black churches in Bed-Stuy got endowments for financial literacy programs, single moms in the Bronx, debt relief. It was poetic justice. But controversial as hell, board leaks painted me as a rogue socialist. Hale's woke meltdown. Protests erupted outside the tower. Pickets chanting, justice for Aaliyah, while counter-rallies decried, reverse racism. I watched from the penthouse. A god in exile, torn between triumph and torment. The hidden secret gnawed deepest. Marcus hadn't just stolen my body, he'd unearthed mine. In the grimoire's margins, scribbled in his spidery hand, was my lineage. Grandma's watch wasn't mere heirloom. It traced to Haitian root work. Voodoo strains blended with Scottish grimoires during slavery's shadow trade. My bloodline? Conductors of swaps. Unwilling vessels for the powerful seeking escape. Generations back, an ancestor swapped with a plantation overseer to poison the well from within. Successful, but cursed. The family haunted by echoes. Marcus had dug it up via a genealogist bribe, targeting me not random, but predestined. I'd borne the crime of my forebears unknowingly. My mistake in the murderous echo of that ancient sabotage. Betrayal on a blood-deep level. He hadn't chosen me. I'd been bred for this fall. Victoria resurfaced like a shark scenting chum, cornering me at a gala in the Met's Temple of Dunder. Egyptian gods loomed, ironic sentinels as she pressed close, her gown a sheath of crimson silk. "You're slipping, Marcus, or should I say, Aaliyah? The watch betrays you. I see it in your eyes." Her hand grazed my arm, nails like talons. Up close, her power shone, not just cunning, but broken. Flash of memory, his not mine, her as the intern, young and ambitious, rejected by Marcus until she weaponized it, becoming his shadow. She'd borne his abuses, the vanishing in turn her own half-sister, silenced for threatening exposure.
Now.
She craved the right's flip, to claim a stronger vessel. "Join me," she hissed. "We swap him back. Then you and I, queens of the ruins." Temptation slithered. Controversial fork, ally with the viper or crush it. I played along, lips brushing her ear. Intriguing. But proof first. She led me to a cloakroom, unveiling a hidden case, vials of essence, Marcus's true soul distilled, shimmering blue. "Renew with this. Bind him forever."
Or.
Her eyes gleamed. "We free you. Trap him eternal." The decision twisted my gut. Freedom meant forgiving her complicity. Or did it? I pocketed a vial, kissed her hard, his lips on hers. A violation that soured my soul. Midnight. "The altar," I murmured. Betrayal's echo. I'd use her, then burn her. Jamal's intel confirmed. The altar lurked beneath Central Park's Bethesda Terrace, a forgotten tunnel from Prohibition days, repurposed for rites. We'd raid pre-renewal, with feds in pocket, my anonymous tips bearing fruit, an FBI task force circling Apex for RICO charges. But tension mounted in my body. Marcus escalated. Tia reporting episodes, blackouts where he'd mutter boardroom lingo, eyes glazing with alien fire. She begged, "Aaliyah's possessed or something. Help, if she only knew the half." My little sis, 25 and scrappy, waitressing to fund nursing school, deserved better than this cosmic collateral. I'd borne enough for family, now. Vengeance for her too. The raid night crackled with storm threat, humidity thick as unspoken sins. Jamal and I descended via maintenance hatch, flashlights cutting fog like scalpels. The tunnel reeked of earth and incense, walls etched with sigils that hummed against my skin.
Voices echoed, Victoria chanting.
Voss's gravel joining, bound but unbowed from the clinic blaze. And Marcus, in my skin, writhing on an altar of black oak, naked and vulnerable, the watch chain around her neck. "Please," he whimpered, my voice cracking. "End it." "I can't." Feel her rage. Heart fracturing. I stepped forward, torchlight gilding the scene. Victoria spun, dagger raised, ceremonial, curved like a question mark. "You came." "Good." Voss chuckled wetly. The conductor returns. Finish the circle. Controversy peaked. Expose them live. Cameras hidden by Jamal streaming to the cloud. Or mercy kill for silence. I chose the blade's edge literally. Lunged at Victoria, wrestling for the dagger as chance warped the air. Shadows writhing like serpents. She fought dirty, knee to groin, hiss of thieving bitch. But the watch surged, time dilating. I saw her secret spill, childhood abuse forging her armor. Marcus's grooming her chain. Pity flickered, then extinguished. I drove the blade into her shoulder, not fatal, but pinning her to stone. For then turn, I growled. For me, Voss lunged next, chains rattling, but Jamal tossed him silent. Marcus screamed, arching as the moon crested. Do it! Swap back. The vial in my hand tempted. Pour it. Reverse.
Reclaim.
But twist loomed. The grimoire warned of reversal's cost. Merged souls. Madness eternal. Decisions darkened. I smashed it instead. Blue essence evaporating like smoke signals. Agony ripped through us both, me and his body. Him and mine, nerves firing as bonds frayed. Visions collided, his childhood neglect. Boarding schools cold as coffins, my grandma's stories of resilience. Sung over cast iron skillets. Betrayals layered, but mine burned brightest. Feds breached then. Boots thundering. Lights blinding. Freeze. FBI. Voss and Victoria cuffed. Marcus, my face tear-streaked, whisked to psych eval. I slipped away in chaos. Jamal covering, but not unscathed. A stray bullet grazed his arm. Blood-hot reminder of fragility. Surfacing in the park. Dawn breaking bloody. I hailed a cab to Harlem. Tia opened the door. Eyes hollow. Aaliyah?
No.
But close. It's me.
Sis.
Long story. She pulled me in. No questions. Just embrace. For a moment, peace, then sirens wailed. The empire's collapse televised. Arrests. Headlines screaming, Apex occult scandal. CEO's ritual expose. But tension lingered. The watch cooled. Inert. Was the bind broken? Or dormant? Power's venom coursed still. Marcus's allies hunted the imposter. Bounties whispered in dark webs. I bandaged the wound in Tia's bathroom. Mirror mocking with his face. Revenge half-served, but the throne's shadows clung. Next move? Infiltrate deeper. Or vanish. The debate raged internal, hero or haunt. With Apex fracturing like fault lines under San Andreas, I navigated the rubble as Marcus hails ghost. Every step a gamble on borrowed bones. The arrests hit like a market crash, Voss in cuffs on live TV. Victoria's shoulder wound bandaged, but her glare lethal through bars. Marcus. In my body. Remanded to Bellevue for delusions, his ravings about soul theft dismissed as CEO burnout. The board dissolved in panic. Interim suits scrambling to salvage stock value. But I'd salted the earth, backdoor viruses and servers, dumping terabytes of fraud docs to WikiLeaks. Headlines exploded. Apex's satanic underbelly, from embezzlement to exorcism, stirring national frenzy. Pundits on Fox decried woke witchcraft hunts, while MSNBC hailed corporate karma. Controversy? A bonfire. I fanned it from burner accounts, posing as insiders. Hale's been possessed for years, ask the missing interns. The betrayal's core festered.
Though.
In quiet hours. Holed up in a safe house Jamal scored in Crown Heights, a nondescript brownstone with peeling wallpaper and Wi-Fi that wheezed, I confronted the mirror. His eyes stared back, hollowed by my fire, but flecked with doubt. Fragments of him leaked, a boy abandoned by climber parents, clawing Wall Street's ladder, each rung a crushed dream. Had I borne his sins too? Enabling the monster by staying loyal post-demotion? That mistake I'd shouldered? It was an error. Voss had rigged the merger. Testing my silence. Marcus took credit for the cover. But I'd signed the falsified report. Fear of blacklist chaining me. Secret buried. My complicity. A thread in their web. Power's antagonist evolved, not one man, but the system. Embodied now by Elias Crow, Apex's shadowy chairman emeritus. a billionaire recluse with ties to BlackRock and the Bilderberg set. He wasn't mousy like Voss. Crow was a titan, face like weathered granite, who'd mentored generations of wolves. His scheme? The right wasn't Marcus's whim. Crow commissioned it, a prototype for elite escapes swap into younger, fitter vessels when age beckoned. I'd been test case. My bloodline, the perfect conduit. Hidden docs, unearthed via Jamal's deep web dive, revealed his crime, a string of suicided whistleblowers. Essences harvested for the collective. My firing? Orchestrated to isolate me. Prime the ritual. Betrayal cosmic. I'd gambled my soul on a system that devoured its profits. Tia became anchor and liability. She nursed my wound, his flesh, with herbal poultices from Mom's recipes. Her touch grounding. You ain't right. Whoever you are, she said one night over plantains and rum, brownstone creaking like old bones. But you fight like Aaliyah. For her? I nodded. Throat tight. Always. Controversial bond. Let her in fully. Risk her as pawn.
Or shield with lies.
I chose half-truths. Recruiting her for low stakes, monitoring news, fielding Aaliyah calls from creditors. She thrived, eyes sparking with purpose. But tension spiked when Crow reached out. A package arrived, the grimoire's missing pages. A note in gilt ink. Conductor, return to the fold. Or your sister joins the vessels. Threat lit the fuse. Jamal and I plan the counter. Infiltrate Crow's Montauk estate. A fortress of dunes and drones. Hosting the Renewal Summit. Elite occultists plotting the next swaps. Disguised as Marcus, face unaltered. But gate-schooled to my swagger, we helicoptered in. The choppers thumped drowning doubts. The estate sprawled like a Gilded Age fever dream, infinity pools merging sea and sky. Guest bungalows for senators and CEOs. Crow greeted at the grand hall. Crystal chandelier dripping light like venom.
Hale.
You rogue. The test succeeded beyond measure. His grip crushed, eyes scanning for tells. The Grant woman, your new skin wears well? Feigned camaraderie masked the storm. Over caviar and cognac, they schemed mass swaps post-election, installing puppets in key seats. My blood ran cold, America's underbelly, rotten with ritual. I slipped away mid-toast, pocketing a USB of attendee lists, but Victoria's ghost haunted. She'd cut a deal, testifying from jail, fingering Hale as ringleader. Alarms would have blared, but the watch tucked in my cuff dampened them. A silencer on fate. Climax brewed in the ritual chamber. A solarium of stained glass depicting alchemical horrors. Crow led the chant. 20 elites in robes. Essences swirling in orbs like captive stars. Marcus's vial, reconstituted, hovered central. My body prepped on a bier. Tia drugged beside it as backup vessel. Horror choked me. They'd snatched her from the brownstone. Bait perfected. No, I roared, shattering the illusion. Chaos erupted, robes torn, daggers drawn. Crow lunged, a theme gleaming. You were to be our greatest. Conductor, join or perish. Fight blurred into frenzy. I parried. Watch flaring. Time fracturing. Punches landed on faces I'd analyzed in reports, senators crumpling, CEOs cowering. Jamal burst in, FBI tailing, badges flashing like judgment.
Down.
Federal agents. Gunfire cracked, orbs exploding in ethereal blasts. I reached Tia, slapping her awake as Crow cornered me against glass. The secret dies with you, he snarled, blade plunging. Twist sliced, the watch absorbed it. His essence yanked into the dial. Body slumping empty. He'd borne the final crime, his own hubris. Swapped into oblivion. Evac in pandemonium. Tia groggy in my arms, his arms. Aaliyah, she murmured.
Yeah, sis.
It's me. Feds swarmed. Arrests rippling global. But tension peaked personal. Marcus. Freed from the beer. Eyes mine but soul fracturing. End it, he begged. Voice breaking. Controversial mercy. Kill the thief. Or let justice grind. I chose the latter. Cuffing him myself. Live with it. Marcus. In my skin. Forever changed. Empire fractured. But fractures bleed. As dawn gilded the dunes. Crow's shell stared vacant. A warning. Power's vein pulsed on in me. The Montauk dawn broke on a world remade in shards. Federal spotlights carving the estate into a crime scene tableau. And I stood amid the wreckage. Marcus's bloodied shirt clinging like a second skin. The watch heavy as judgment in my palm. Arrests cascaded. Crow's cabal indicted for conspiracy. Ritual murder. The works. Apex nationalized pending dissolution. Its billions clawed back for victims. I was ghost in the machine, vanishing into a safe-house van with Jamal and Tia, her head on my shoulder, murmuring, "We did it,
sis."
Whatever it was. Headlines crown the shock. Wall Street witch hunt. Occult empire crumbles. Aaliyah Grant vindicated. My name, real one, reclaimed. The frame-up exposed in leaked footage of the right. My face on the beer, a viral icon. Controversy-crested title. Was I hero, hacker, or heretic? TikToks deified soul sister Aaliyah, while op-eds thundered vigilante voodoo, threat to rule of law. But victory's echo hollowed quick. In the van's rattle toward anonymity, a cabin in the Catskills. Jamal's uncle's holdout, the betrayal's dregs soured. I'd borne not just Marcus's crimes, but the system's, my demotion, a microcosm of inequities baked into finance, where Black women like me defaulted 40% more on loans due to predatory algorithms I'd helped code. Secret unveiled fully in the grimoire's final page. Deciphered by firelight, the right reversed not by smash, but sacrifice, one's soul yields for balance. Crow's absorption bought time, but the bind lingered. A tether yanking dreams, flashes of Marcus's terror in Bellevue. Strapped down. Screaming my name, Victoria's jailhouse suicide. Note blaming the conductor's curse. Power's antagonists lingered spectral, not men,
but the void they left.
Elites regrouped in shadows. Whispers of Project Phoenix, swaps refined sans talismans. My decision loomed. Expose all? Become martyr? Or fade? Let the cycle spin? Tia advocated fight. You started this fire. Aaliyah. Fan it.
Jamal.
Pragmatic. Run.
Girl.
Heroes die young. Controversial crux. Reclaim my body. Risking merge madness. Or embrace the wolf. Dismantle from penthouse perches? Climax crested in the cabin's storm-lashed night. Thunder cracking like divine applause. The watch ignited. Blue fire coiling. Pulling me under. Visions vortexed. Harlem stoops where Grandma whispered spells. Wall Street pits where Marcus first tasted blood. The merger room. My hand trembling on the lie. Truth twisted. I hadn't borne his mistake alone. I'd chosen it. Ambition blinding me to the rot. Betrayal self-inflicted. The deepest cut. Marcus's plea echoed, were the same, hungry ghosts. The right demanded choice. Pour his remnant essence, smuggled from Montauk, into the dial. Trap us both eternal. Or shatter it, freeing one at the other's expense. Tia burst in. Rain slick, eyes fierce. Do it for us, for the ones they broke. Jamal nodded. Shotgun ready for whatever emerged. Heart hammering his heart. Faltering, I raised the watch. For the fall guys, I whispered. Smash. Glass spiderwebbed, essence erupting in wind whirl, slamming me back. Agony arched, souls colliding like freight trains, his regrets flooding mine. Abusive father. Lost loves, my joys bleeding his, sister's laugh. Mom's hugs. Fusion threatened. Identities blurring. But will held. A scream, mine. His. Rent the air. Then silence. Light dimmed. Body convulsing. Awakening to birdsong. I stumbled to the lake's edge. Mirror in ripples. My face, Aaliyah's, stared back. Curls damp. Scars faint from phantom wounds. Swap severed. But echoes unbound. Flecks of silver in my eyes. A rasp to my laugh. Marcus? Vanished into ether. His shell dissolved in Bellevue overdose. Official story. Suicide. Justice? Or erasure? The watch lay shattered. Inert talisman. Epilogue unfolded in ambiguities gray. I testified anonymously. Apex's remnants redistributed. Scholarships for HBCUs. Co-ops in redlined hoods. Tia enrolled in med school. Jamal's PI firm boomed on occult cases.
Me?
I wrote the book. Memoir veiled as fiction. Swapped shadows. Bestseller that sparked debates. Redemption or revenge porn. Protests evolved to policy. Dodd-Frank 2.0 with sole clauses for ethical audits. Laughed off but lingering. Ending? No tidy bow. On Harlem stoops. I feel him sometimes. A whisper urging shortcuts. Power siren song. Happy? In fragments. Sisters reunited. Secrets slain. Tragic? In the cost humanity chipped. Trust fractured. Debatable dawn. Did I win? Or become the monster? As rain patters. Watch shards in pocket. I smile crooked. The fall was theirs. The rise. Mine. But shocks linger. What if the right calls again?